Hello, BookTube, and welcome to another installment of Hours in My Library. And I must apologize, my breathing hasn't been the best, so I'll be huffing and puffing a little bit during this video. We're back in London. This is not a great-looking book, at least not in the condition. It's rough. It's got tear to the spine of the cloth, and it's tarnished, but you can see there was gold. It was actually nicely decorated. It's called The Sanitary Evolution of London, and it was by Henry Jephson, published by T. Fisher Unwin in London in 1908. And it's exactly what it says. It's a history of the sanitation, the evolution of sanitation in London. And there's a dedication here. It's dedicated to the London City Council by one of its members, the author. So there's the title page and the dedication page. You can see some foxing on it. And it goes through, the history. There's not much in the way of illustrations in it. There is a frontist, a beginning map of all the parishes of London, which is kind of nice. And it goes through and it talks, it gives some interesting details, because obviously he had access to all the city, the city council's records. And he goes through, excuse me, and he talks a lot about the health office and the public health office, going through and, saying how many families there were in a certain area on a certain street, how many had fever, and talking about the water quality, where the water was drawn from, quotation mark, he quotes a lot of material, experts of the time, and it's quite scary at things, because there's, he talks about before, the sewers were put in, the cesspits that were underneath people's houses. Even Pepys talks about it in his diaries. I can't remember if it's quoted in here, but his neighbor has, sewage leaking into his property, from his cesspits. And the typhoid and cholera that was from the wells and the water supply, some of the areas were taking water directly from the Thames, where it was the worst, polluted areas, and none of this water was treated in any way. And he talks about the poverty. It's quite fascinating and scary, as I say, that, and it was known that what was happening, and it took so long to get legislation and the Public Health Act, I think it was the maybe 1850s or 1860s, before a Public Health Act was enacted. And the public health officers, would go, or the medical officer of health had, in different areas, and he quotes a lot of the reports here over the years for this. So there's a nondescript book, but quite fascinating, on London. And I will see you next time, BookTube. Take care.